welcome to our next print and print video. But I've been absolutely obsessed with Arcane since season 2 finished up. I've got like so many different STL files for all the different characters. I've got like multiple Jinx ones, and a few Patreons I'm on are coming out with some this month. This is December, so I'm kind of waiting to see which one I want to do. But in the meantime, as I'm sure you saw because you clicked on the thumbnail, we've got Isha here. Kind of interesting, actually. We just went and did her as a total print. The file did have it in separate parts, but since she is so small, I went ahead and, geez, we were losing a ton of resin. Might as well put that back in there. Went ahead and just printed her off as one solid piece. Don't mind these other two. They're for my trophy printing business on Etsy. Check us out at Sim Trophy. Let's go ahead and get it off the plate. All right, so here she is. It worked out pretty good, all in one. Props to the creator for this one, H3LL. I will link in the description to their Patreon. Like I said, they're coming out later this month with a Jinx from the finale that I'm excited to see. But I like it with the pew pew pose and the gun down. She's not like, I kind of would have liked it if she was in like the finale pose where she was like under, you know, I don't want to spoil it if you haven't watched it yet, but very cool. And she's really small, but then I thought that I am going to be doing other ones, so I want the scale to be right. I thought about blowing it up and making it bigger, but I wanted to kind of match the scale of the other ones. She comes with a little small base here, just some pipes and gears and things that match the aesthetic. And she's got the little torch thing that we'll do in blue. So a fun little print to do over the holiday weekend I'm looking forward to. I've been printing nothing but trophies. I had a lot of orders to get out for Christmas. So I'm excited to just do something for fun. And this will be a cool one. Plus it'll be a good chance to test some of the colors and things that I want to do. Getting that kind of aesthetic for Arcane and the kind of brushwork and some of the fluorescence, especially kind of like Isha and Jinx with the graffiti look and all the brushwork. There's going to be some techniques I'm going to refine here, so it'll be nice to kind of try some of them out on Isha before I start on a Jinx. But excited to get it cured and get ready to go, and let's start looking at some colors. Oh yeah, real quick before we move on from the printing phase, this was entirely pre-supported. Really well too. All the supports came off pretty easy. Didn't even need to warm them up or anything. Nothing broke. It was all really well done. So props to them for pre-supporting. A lot of times I don't do the pre-supports. I do my own because I just don't trust them, but really well done. Props to H3LL on that one. All right, so skipping ahead a little bit, did a little bit of an update. We got her primed, and here is the base, which I already started a little bit of the first base on. All of the kind of graffiti and paint stuff we're gonna do later. The trick here is the flesh. I've been avoiding, everything I've done before has either been like a turtle or the venom where I didn't have to do flesh. So I'm a little worried about it. I'd use this Vallejo flat flesh as a base. And then I'm gonna try to cool it off a little bit with some washes and see what happens. But went ahead and threw that on there. I really don't know. Gotta figure this out. Again, this is kind of why I was happy to do this one before I get to Jinx. I can kind of learn. And then I just did the base of the brown hair. Of course, she's got blue hair, but if you notice in the show, the blue hair like doesn't cover all the way, and you can see a lot of the brown through it. So I started with a brown base, and then we'll kind of, not quite dry brush, but go lightly over it with the blue so that you can see the brown under it, so it looks kind of accurate. So that's where we're kind of at right now. Haven't touched the torchlight yet, and yeah, there we go. All right, so we're back the next day, and I don't think it looks as bad as what I thought it was going to look like. I do feel like it needs a lightened up, but I don't have any other skin tones, so I'm going to have to go to the store and get some lighter skin tones to kind of come over this with. But I feel like working some more on it, so we're going to work on the pants. I'm a little nervous. I don't think you can tell, but there is like a stripe. So they're kind of like a purple and then a lighter purple that goes right over top of it. You can kind of see the lines in the mold there. But that's going to be hard to paint like a perfectly straight line. So I'm just going to go over them in like a lighter purple, this light purple, and then I'm going to go over this darker contrast purple and try to stripe them as good as possible. There's also a bunch of tears. She's got tears and bandages in them, so we'll come back and do all that detail work later. Maybe that'll kind of help hide our probably crappy lines, but let's go ahead and get started. Another shocking update. So I was just kind of looking around at what I had, and I found this old mini I painted months ago. And I thought, well, that's a really good skin tone. Where the heck did I get that color at? And it turns out I do have this kind of cheap craft paint that is this warm beige that has a really good kind of warm, milky kind of color to it that I felt would really work on that kind of orangish Isha. But it is this kind of cheap, you know, like Meyer paint, which goes on really thick. It's ridiculously thick and clumpy, and it really leaves streaks. So what I did is I just kind of dry brushed it, put it on my brush, dried it off, and then just tried to go over that base coat that I had of skin. And I think at first, you can see there's some spots that really get picked up on the camera. Like back there, I need to do it again. But like the parts on the cheeks there that went, I think it really helped kind of cool off the paint. So I'm gonna chip away at it a little bit more, but that might work, going a little bit lighter, trying to kind of not go too thick with it so it doesn't get too clumpy, but and you can see kind of the purple coming through there. I'll probably put another coat on that. That is this Game Master Warlock Hex, but this stuff just doesn't go on very thick. All of the times I've tried to use it, even on minis and stuff, it takes so many coats because it doesn't go on doesn't cover very well. Not like the Vallejo stuff. This is the go-to, man. I'm getting to the point now where like I want to just use this stuff, but it's hard to get. There's only a few places that sell it, and I don't sell a ton of different options. So it's either go to like specialty craft stores or try to get creative. And I'm sitting here looking at it and I want to paint. So we're trying to get creative. All right, let's go for it. Let's try to capture some Leviathan purple here. And we're just going to try to do a straight line right in the back of Isha's tights. Clean up around the edges. Ah, dang it. Tips. Better on drawing straight lines. So we'll see how that goes. We'll let it dry, and then we might try to straighten them up with the other paint that come in. Like I said, once we get the straps all done and the skin done on the rips and tears, that might hide a little bit, but best I can do right now. So try to add a little bit of water to it and just try to be very thin with the coats. Next, I'm going to go in and do the bandages with this troll teeth from Game Master, which I really like for bandages. It's what I used on the turtles when I did their kind of wraps around their legs. So I'm going to use that as well for the kind of bandages that are around her legs. So another update, I've had a hard time. I've really been struggling with where to find this color right here. It's not black, it's not brown. I go back and forth, like this is a deep brown, but what is like the vest here? Like it's almost like I can't even pinpoint, like really between brown and black. So I've been struggling with where to find that color. So again, just trying to make use of what I had. I literally just combined these two, the black and the brown, to get this very darkish brown. It's maybe a little bit too brown, but I think it'll work. You'll see here I put it on the vest and like the back of the skirt and everything. And I mean, you can see right there why I'm falling in love with the Vallejo paints. Like look how well that went on, how much it covered. You don't see a single streak. And it just, I think it turned out really great. You can see the difference there, the black undershirt mixed with the brown on the vest. I also went ahead and put that brown on the helmet. And I'll probably do her boots too, because it all kind of seems to be a similar. It's kind of the thing about doing animated people is they really stick to a color palette, and a lot of their outfits will stay the same color, which is kind of nice. So the hat's going to get covered in all kinds of graffiti and stuff eventually, so you won't really be able to see much of it by the time it's all done. But I am pretty happy with how that dark brown, and then I'll just come in and do all these patches in the regular brown, so they kind of pop a little bit, all the belts and all these kind of stuff that I'll do. So, but all in all, like, I'm actually really pleased how that turned out for just kind of, again, just sitting here, I'm bored, and like, I want to paint, so what do I got? What can I do? And it turned out pretty good. All right, another update. I'm getting on a little bit of a roll. I probably should stop because it's getting too, but you'll see here I did a little bit on the gun. Adding some of that textbook Arcane bronze look and some metallics, did some detail work on belts and buttons and stuff. Got the boots done. Those look pretty good. You'll notice there's some helmet there with the goggles and everything. A few things that I am putting off doing is that right there, the face and the eyes specifically. I'm very nervous about that. And then the blue tattoos like she does, like Jinx. So but it's really coming together. I'm really encouraged by kind of what we did tonight. I need to do the blue hair over top of the brown, but I'm really liking this detail work, and everything looks good from afar. Now I gotta start getting in on some of these little details. All right, it's eye painting time. I've been putting it off for a while. I even went to the store today and bought this fancy new fine detailed real animal hair brush. It's time to do some eyes that we have been putting off, but let's do Isha's eyes and get it done. All right, so here's the plan. We're going to start with black and just put over the entire eye, then come back over with white and try to leave a black rim right around the surface of the eye like you would usually have, kind of like a shade around it. We'll come in with a brown circle, a lighter brown, and then a black dot in the middle. Let's just go ahead and get started. Start with just doing the black. Comes the white. All right, for her irises, I'm going to use this kind of orangish brown because she has kind of like a goldish brown eye pupils. Iris, I don't know which one it is. I'm going to go with this. I'm just going to put a tiny little dot right in the middle of her eye. She's supposed to be looking right down when she's pointing down the gun here. And we're just going to put a black dot right in the middle, a very tiny black dot right in the middle of the yellow eye we just did. These people. All right, so here we are. Finished the eyes. They don't look great, but they're passable. Definitely something I need to work on. I think I need to print off a bigger head and just try to get my technique down, maybe on something bigger. Trying to just work on something so small was really challenging. It's kind of good because I can't get in close enough with the camera for you to really see kind of how goofy it looks, but I don't know. I mean, it like up on a shelf, it's going to look fine. It's just, I definitely need to get better at my skills on that. I also worked on her like tattoos on the side here, which again is just really small and challenging. But part of, it's part of doing something is if you can do it small, you can do it big. So all in all, I think it's going to end up looking good. I think we're going to let it sit for the night, let everything dry. I'll hit it with like I'll hit it with a matte finish tomorrow, and we're going to put a high gloss over the eyes and everything. But we'll kind of get it done, and then we'll start with all the graffiti and all the paint on everything else. But I just want to get nice solid down. But tattoos turned out okay, not great. Eyes were, I don't know, probably about as good as what I thought I could do. I was kind of hoping once I started on them that I was going to surprise myself, but that's probably about what I expected. I do think it helped getting this nice brush. Just a super fine detail brush. That's like an actual animal hair one, like a really nice brush. It just stayed nice and together. It didn't start frizzing at the end. And all my small brushes, that's what ends up happening is at the end, like all the little hairs go off. And anytime you try to get in and do detail work, those little rogue hairs just make a mess of it. So I think it did help, but it's just gonna have to be where it's at for now until I can get better eyes. Okay, I lied. I'm not quite done for the night. I did come back and start doing the blue on her hair. And really what I did here, as you mentioned in the show, Jinx paints her brown hair blue with like just gallons of paint. And it's really crude and you can see a lot of the brown showing through in it. So I just kind of went over it. I used this new Citadel I just got, Calidor Sky. And I just kind of went on thick, not quite dry brush like I said, but let the brown kind of come through in a few spots. Didn't go quite to all the way to the tips in a lot of areas and let some of the kind of under bits show. And there is the blue, there is her blue hair. So we're gonna let that, now we're gonna let this sit for a night and we're gonna hit it with some matte sealant tomorrow. And then we will come in and start with all the graffiti and paint that's all over her. All right, so we are back the next day and we've gone ahead and hit it with a matte spray. I also put some gloss over the eyes. Another little thing I did, this shoulder right here is so annoying. Paint will not stick to this shoulder. It must be something with the resin wasn't cured maybe or something and the primer, I don't know. I've done 25 layers on this shoulder and paint just keeps rubbing off of it. It's driving me crazy. But one thing I also did was I did a little bit of a red wash on the skin just to try to add a little like blood or like some life to it. And I think it did help under the cheeks, kind of like blush in a way. And then some of the cracks on the muscles and all that just kind of dropped in there and gives that kind of effect of like the, you know, because your skin has like red under certain areas from the blood and everything. So I think that kind of helped give it a little bit more life. But what we're gonna do next is start on all the graffiti stuff. I've got just about every kind of neon color I've got here to start throwing on the graffiti stuff. So let's get to it. All right, so I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. So we did a little bit of work on the helmet there. You'll see the, you did a little bit of work on the helmet. We got the teeth. Actually, it wasn't too hard. I mean, it's all kind of graffiti stuff that she has in her helmet, so you really can't go wrong with it. But you just try to start with the main features like the teeth here, the lenses, and some of these main ones, and then you just filled it in with doing some crude brush work on the helmet. But I think it turned out looking pretty good. All right, so we finished up. We did the X on the chest there. I did some of the like little bandages that she's got on here. And there we go. I think that's just about it. Also, we did a little bit on the base where there's like some graffiti. I put like a little smiley face there. Tagged the base up a little bit. And I think we can call this one done. So hopefully you guys like this video. Like I said, I've been knowing for a while that eyes and skin were two things that I haven't done in any models that I knew were probably going to be in trouble. So clearly you saw I've got a lot to work on. But I think we were able to get something that looks reasonably okay. I think we were able to kind of learn a few things, get something that I think on a shelf will look fine. So hopefully, you know, I'm still learning about painting. I'm still learning about even the printing. So, and that's part of why I wanted to do these videos, is to go back myself and look at them in a year or 2 years down the road and see how much hopefully improved we're getting. But hopefully this motivates you to maybe, if you're thinking about starting 3D printing or starting to paint and you just think like you don't have anything to do with it, just watch videos, try techniques, learn by doing. So hopefully, like I said, that's why I wanted to do that small one, learn a few things, move on to something bigger the next time around. But I got a lot of models I want to print. I have other Arcane ones. I got so many comic people. I've got like a Warhammer 40K one I want to do. So there's a bunch of stuff I want to do. Please like and subscribe so you can catch what's coming up next. And let me know what you want to see, and we'll see if we can get it done. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.